Hello, everybody, and welcome to your friend and astrologer, Gretchen Heidel, full-time astrologer, life coach, and Reiki master. And I am here tonight talking about, oh my goodness, there's so many things to talk about. I'm doing sort of an impromptu Facebook Live, but also I'm going to be cross-posting this on my YouTube channel. So if you're just joining me, go ahead and say hi. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Post below your astrological sign and also where you are viewing from. I'd love to hear from you. But we have a lot of activity going on, and you know, usually when I'm doing lives impromptu, there's some sort of big thing happening. So we, as you know, are in Mercury Retrograde. We have the autumnal equinox that just occurred in the astrological sign, or it means that the sun is moving into the astrological sign of Libra. And then we have the new moon in Libra coming up. And we have a bunch of other things too. So I'm just sort of waiting here to see if anybody is joining me live. I have a few people hopping on now. Go ahead and post below when you join. Welcome for showing up, and go ahead and post your astrological sign below, because you guys know I love to hear about what your sign is. So we have a lot of astrological things happening, a lot of activity, and it's a very condensed period of time in the retrograde. As I had predicted, that the beginning part of this retrograde, I mean, it might seem mild, it might seem kind of, you know, a little wonky here and there, but it was going to deepen once we got into Mercury retrograde in Virgo, and that is going to, Mercury retrograde switching from Libra to Virgo, and that is really going to deepen this retrograde, and all of a sudden it's going to be kicking up a notch. Hey Kate, welcome. Pisces from Vermont. Melinda, welcome. Also from Vermont. Capricorn, yay. Pisces and Capricorns get along well. Stephanie, Taurus, welcome. I love hearing from everybody that's joining me live tonight. So we have a lot of energy. So I'm going to just start plunging in. Okay, so happy fall autumnal equinox, everybody. The equinox is the day of the year when there's equal light between the northern and southern hemispheres of the earth. So it's a day of equality, if you will. And for sure, if you think about it, it's also the time when, and during the autumnal equinox, it's also the time in the northern hemisphere when we start to move into fall. And that is always marked by the sun moving into the astrological sign of Libra. Libra being all about balance and fairness and beauty and all the other things. We have two equinoxes in the year. And what's the difference between an equinox and a solstice? You know, you might be hearing those words. Equinoxes mean that it's equal sunlight between the northern and southern hemispheres. And if you think of the solstices, that's the time when it's either the longest or the shortest day of the year. So that's the difference between solstice and equinox. Hey, Gloria, welcome. Cancer from Florida. And so basically we have the equinox, and that's when the astrological sign of Libra season starts, Libra season 2022. It happened yesterday or last night at the time of this broadcast. I'm live on Friday the 23rd, but it actually started last night on the 22nd, and it started at 9:04 p.m. Eastern time. Earlier than that, if you're on the West Coast, so 6:04 p.m. Pacific daylight savings time. So we basically, and it's also the Wiccan pagan holiday of Mabon. That's also celebrated at this time of year, and that's when we start to, move into this new sign. We have a new season ahead, and that's marked by Libra. Now, Libra is a cardinal sign. Whenever the seasons move into a new sign, whatever sign it is, whatever time of year it is, winter, spring, summer, fall, it doesn't matter. Whatever sign happens at the time when we start a new season, that basically is a cardinal sign. It means it's the leader. It's the start of a new thing. So that's basically Libra. Libra is a cardinal sign. And so we're all about balance, fairness, beauty. When we think of Libra, the life lesson of Libra is definitely relationships and getting along well with others. Now, why I'm also bringing this up is Mercury retrograde until today was actually also in the astrological sign of Libra. And like I said, that would be affecting relationships. The Mercury retrograde in Libra would affect the relationships. So let's talk about the fall equinox, and it's the time to basically, start to hunker down and, get prepared for the change of seasons. The winter is coming, eventually, but let's not fast forward through fall. Fall is a fun time. It's also one of my favorite times of the year. Hey, Rosalie, welcome. Rosalie just became a new, I'm not sure if it's the first grandchild, but a new grandmama today, this week. So welcome. Everybody congratulate her on the chat. That's pretty cool. Also from Vermont here. So we have this new season upon us. Now, we think about balance, fairness, beauty, life lesson of relationships, and all these things with basically, Libra season starting. And if you think of some famous Libras, Kate Winslet, Kim Kardashian, Gwyneth Paltrow. There we go. I got too animated and I fell. Here we go. Everybody see me? Hello. Sorry about that. Hey, Kate. Thank you. Love my glasses. Thank you. Thank you. So I had a little fall. I'm falling for Libra season. So anyway, so getting back to that, we have these wonderful people that are and you think about Kate Winslet, Kim Kardashian, Gwyneth Paltrow. A lot of them are fashionistas, or they pick roles that are very much about love. And, if you think of Kate Winslet and Gwyneth Paltrow, I mean, Gwyneth Paltrow's really big breakout role was Shakespeare in Love, I mean, if you think of Libra, that's the life lesson of Libra season, Libra time, because it's about partnering with another. If you look at your astrological birth chart, the 7th house is the natural house of Libra. Now, you might have a different sign that's on your 7th house. I always say the sign is renting that house. Unless if you have Aries rising would have Libra actually on the 7th house. But yeah, you'd have to know how you express yourself in marriage and partnerships. Now, the 7th house, if you think about Libra, it's not just marriage partnerships, though for sure 7th house is always kind of nicknamed or called the marriage house. It's also the house of partnerships, so close partnerships, business partnerships. So if you think about somebody you have to work really closely with one-on-one, that is a Libra thing. Oh yes, Rosalie said, second time grandma, little girl. Welcome. So I'm so excited for you. I'm glad that everything is okay. So we're talking about balance and fairness and beauty and all those things. So if you think about beauty, Gwyneth Paltrow, she's known for Goop, okay, which is a huge sort of website and where she has skin creams and different types of products and things, beauty related and lifestyle related. Types of products. Kim Kardashian, same thing. I mean, gosh, if Kim Kardashian buys a handbag, everybody's going to buy that handbag. Well, almost everybody. And, she's very much a fashionista, trendsetter type of personality. Now, does that mean that everything is all hunky-dory in the area of relationships? No. That's the paradox of astrology, and that's the paradox of life, really. If your life lesson is relationships, people sort of think pie in the sky and they go, oh, that means I'm going to be married and have one marriage for all of eternity. And that is usually not the case, actually. If your life lesson is relationships, it's relationship. It's like you're given plenty of homework by the universe about relationships. So I always usually say with Libras, you're gonna have lots of practice. So that is part of the life lesson of Libra, is to learn how to do relationships well, but also not to be too relationship focused, like codependency or being sort of over relying on another person, that you can do it yourself. You know, if you think of the Libra's opposite sign, which is Aries, Aries is about do it yourself and have autonomy and really, you know, get in there. But Libra wants to always, you know, have that counterpart and have that, you know, sort of balance going on. If you think of the symbol of Libra, Libra is the scales, which is all about balance, right? Like, is something in balance or is it out of balance? Not every Libra is, you know, super peaceful. But, you know, I think a lot of astrologers, when they're writing about Libra, I know some Libras that are quite contentious. They can really debate and they can get fired up about things. I mean, they're a cardinal sign. That's hashtag boss. You know, they're the boss of all the air signs. You know, they're in, that's their department head. You know, that's what they do. So, you know, the way they function, you know, if you think of Gwyneth Paltrow, she functions so sort of easy breezy, air sign, okay, easy breezy. And I always use Gwyneth, by the way, as a prime example of Libra, because really she's got like 4 or 5 or 6 or something planets in Libra. It's like a lot of planets in Libra. She's very Libra. So, you know, if you think of that easy breezy sort of way, but she's a powerhouse. I mean, don't underestimate, you know, Gwyneth. She's made a lot of money. I mean, when she recommends a skin cream that sells for like, I don't know, $10,000, everybody's like, okay, I'll take 5 of them. You know, I mean, it's kind of I'm making a joke, by the way. Okay, I know it's online and some people don't know my sense of humor, but I'm just making a joke. But it is kind of the way it is, you know. And Kim Kardashian also the same thing. You know, she recommends this or that, and people are all over it, like, oh, we want to look like Kim or be like Kim or get a, you know, whatever kind of thing that she's doing. So, but we have to remember that Libra is a boss. And so if you think about a Libra that was in the news recently for not being so, you know, balanced and peace loving is Will Smith, the slap that was heard around the world. You know, I mean, Will Smith is a Libra. You know, even Libras can be out of balance. And that's the thing. Libra's life lesson is always about balance, always about balance. So where do you need your balance? So look on your astrological chart for the symbol of Libra, and that's where you will find where you need to have balance and sort of, you know, I don't know any Libra whose scales are like this. They're always usually like somewhere either up or all the way down, you know what I mean? And I know Libras that even knock their own scales out of balance in order to find their equilibrium. They're always trying to find that equal sort of footing and equal balance level. And especially in relationships, because it seems that relationships are really Libra's playground. Now, Libra is well known for being peaceful and mediating and all that. However, there, you know, sometimes Libra does need to step up. And it's interesting because when you think about, my dog is, hey, no. He's going to start talking to me while I'm in the middle of the broadcast. If you think about a Libra, right, with using Will Smith as the example, who really needed to, you know, balance himself on that day, what I often see happen with Libra is folks will sort of push it down and push it down and push it. I don't want to make waves. I don't want to, you know, say a bad thing, and I don't want to make anybody mad, right? And then all of a sudden they blow, you know, and that's kind of, I think, what ended up happening with Will Smith. You know, he was kind of known as a good guy, you know, Hollywood. Oh, Will Smith, he's so nice and fun and funny. And then all of a sudden, boom, that took that one thing and it just like sent him kind of down that pathway. And that can be very much a Libra thing where it just all of a sudden, you know, so the key is with Libra is to find that balance and find that, you know, learn how to assert yourself and do it in a healthy way and not in a explosive Will Smith sort of way. So yeah, in fact, it's funny, there's 2 Libras that are actually married to each other, which is Michael Douglas and Catherine Zeta-Jones. You know, those 2, you know, are famous Hollywood couple that are both Libras. And, you know, Catherine Zeta-Jones and Michael Douglas are very well known, but, you know, behind the scenes, it has been rumored that Michael Douglas might have had a sex addiction and had some problems with his balance. And Catherine Zeta-Jones also has been in the news for having, I believe, type 2 bipolar disorder. So that's needing balance, you know. So everybody needs balance in their life, everybody. So it depends on where in your astrological chart Libra is in order to know where that's going to be affecting you. And the sun is going to be going through Libra. That's the new season that we're in, yay. And that's going to be happening all the way until October 23rd, okay, of 2022, and then we'll be heading into Scorpio season after Libra season. So look on your astrological chart to see where the sun is. Now, what's so important about all this is that the sun and Mercury today are forming its conjunction. Now, what does that mean? And I'm talking here about Mercury retrograde now. So Mercury retrograde, and by the way, like and share, because that's how it goes up on the algorithm, and people can hear about this because it's important news, because I'm getting a lot of 911 calls. People are going, oh, what's going on? What's happening? And this is the broadcast. I want everybody to know. And I am going to cross-post this on YouTube as well. So thank you. Everybody's liking. That's great. Virginia said, Libra from New Jersey. Yes, you're correct about Libra. Got to self-check all the time. Yeah. That's a thing. It's a thing. So when we get into Mercury retrograde today on Friday, on the 23rd of September, I told you guys, Mercury has been in Libra from retrograde in Libra from 9/9. The retrograde started on 9/9, and everybody, this is the point when everybody starts saying, isn't this long? It hasn't already been like this for a whole month? It's like, no, it's only been we're only about halfway through. So 9/9 to 9/23, it's been retrograde in Libra. Mercury has been residing in this balance, fairness, beauty sign. Now it headed today on the 23rd at 8:04 a.m. Eastern time, earlier than that if you're on the West Coast, and now it's going to finish the retrograde in Virgo. Now, I had predicted on my last video, and if you guys had a chance to see that, I have felt that the first half might be more kind of chill. Of course, these life lessons would be coming up in the sign of Libra, and all these different things and balance and all that stuff is going to be, you know, but Mercury rules over Virgo. So it's like in its hometown or home court, you know, Mercury in Virgo. And that is going to be a little extra strong. Mercury rules over two signs. It rules over Gemini and it rules over Virgo. And in 2022, it was retrograde in both of those signs. So, you know, so this is going to be it's like a hard second half to the retrograde. I feel like as if it's going to be a little bit more glitchy, a little bit more, you know, stuff. And so here's something that I didn't talk about in the last video that I really want to highlight and make sure you guys know about. We are in the peak time of 2022 of retrograde season. So not only is Mercury retrograde, but they're all together is 6 planets retrograde and 3 asteroids are retrograde. So it's like 9 things are retrograde right now. There's like Jupiter, Neptune, Pluto, Uranus. Let me think of, there's Mercury. I'm missing one. Saturn. How can I miss Saturn? Geez. And Saturn are all retrograde in all different signs. So if you feel, I have a lot of clients calling me, I'm stuck. There's no movement in my life. There's no, you know, I feel like, you know, a lot of people are calling me with some existential crises and what am I doing? Where am I going? What's going on? You know, that's all this retrograde stuff. It's almost like we're going down a highway in like LA or something and it's like a huge traffic jam going on. And that is basically why, because everything is retrograde. All these planets are retrograde. Not everything, but a lot. 9 heavenly bodies. So the 3 asteroids that are retrograde are Chiron, Juno, and Vesta. Very quickly, Chiron is what we need to heal. Juno is relationships, so even that is giving us a relationship. It rules over who our ideal marriage partner is, Juno. So it's kind of like almost like a Venus retrograde. having Juno retrograde. And then Vesta is our safety, what makes us feel safe. And that's retrograde right now. So we have 3 asteroids retrograde. So these outer planets being retrograde, usually we don't feel quite as intensely, but with all of them retrograde, and in combination with what we call a personal planet, a planet that's close to us here on Earth being retrograde, that ends up being a huge pileup of retrogrades. And I'm not going to break them all down because it would be too much for the broadcast. But what I want you guys to know is the feeling, right? That's what most people want to know. What's the feeling of it? And the feeling of it is going to be like, one step forward, 2 steps back, 2 steps forward, 3 steps back, and it's like, that's what we're kind of doing. We're reviewing, reevaluating, all of the re's, and we're really revisiting all these life lessons in different times and things that we might have already done before. We're going back to those times. So it's a lot, and it's going to feel heavy, The retrograde, Mercury retrograde, is going to be over on 10/2 at 5:07 a.m. Eastern time. I believe it's a.m. Let me just double check. Yes, it's a.m. Eastern time, so it's Sunday, a Sunday morning. So that'll be starting to kind of lift. But as we go through October and even through November, some of the other retrogrades are going to also start to lift too. And then we'll start to feel, it's almost like weights starting to lift off of our shoulders. So these times are always intense, but it's not forever. That's my biggest message, because I feel like when people get down, they think it's down, it's going to be down forever. We're just reviewing and reevaluating and reviewing and reevaluating, and there's going to be changes and reversals of things that you start and things that you thought you were done with, and all kinds of things like that are going to come up and re-come up back again, and that's what retrogrades are for. So today, like I said, Mercury went into the astrological sign of Virgo, and then also today the Sun formed a conjunction with Mercury. Now that always roughly happens around kind of like the middle of the retrograde, when the Sun forms a conjunction with Mercury. And basically that happened at 2:50 a.m. So overnight last night Eastern time. So I don't know about you guys. I had a horrible time trying to sleep last night. I was tossing and turning. I had a ton of energy yesterday, and it was like restless energy. And that was why. So if you guys were feeling this major download, plus we had the fall equinox too, there was just like a ton of energy coming towards us. And Mercury can be very restless, very Mercury is your mental processes, your thoughts, your brain, your brain activity, language, talking, speaking, communicating, gift of the gab, that's all very mercurial stuff. So if you need some grounding, if you need to kind of bring that energy down, obviously going for a walk and all that. But I love the stone of howlite, Howlite, howlite. This is a dyed piece of howlite, though I like showing this because it's Mercury's kind of color, it's like that blue sort of color that is associated with the throat chakra, and that's very talking, communicating, all of that stuff, speaking, writing, is Mercury. So it's a dyed piece. The regular howlite looks like marble. It's kind of like white with black in it, and sometimes this is sold as fake turquoise, but it's not turquoise. This is howlite, and howlite in itself is really beautiful. It doesn't matter if it's dyed or not. It has the same properties to it, so it's a really nice grounding stone if you're having too much Mercury overload, because it's Mercury. Mercury went into Virgo today. Mercury is conjunct the Sun today. I mean, it's all the mercurial stuff that's activated, and it's really been a lot. It is a lot. Oh no. Oh, I'm sorry, Kate. You're being treated for mold and Lyme. Oh no. You were unable to work out. Kate's saying she felt like her brain shut down this week. Yes, that's why, because Mercury, when Mercury's retrograde, it's like our brain activity is kind of, that's why people miss appointments, they run late, they forget things, you know, it's like, oh God, I went to the grocery store and I forgot the laundry detergent. That was the whole reason why I went to the grocery store in the first place. You know, it's that kind of thing. It's that type of stuff. When Mercury's retrograde, it's not just our technology that acts up. And, you know, if you think about computers, cell phones, all that stuff definitely acts up. But our brain, you know, it rules over our mind. And so Mercury retrograde can be like foggy and fuzzy, or too much energy, like ADD or hyperactivity. It's all like you know, and it can be all of that. Hey Molly, welcome. Sagittarius Sun, Cancer Moon, Capricorn Rising. Love that, from Vermont. So Howlite is a really good, you know, if you guys are having trouble with this either brain fog or too much, like my brain was going 90 miles an hour and I don't know, I just could not sleep. It kept tossing and turning and having weird dreams. That's also very mercurial. And again, because today it's called, by the way, a Kazemi. It sounds like almost like a cartoon name or something. When a planet is that close to the sun, and so basically it's a conjunction, yes, but this particular one is very, very close. So it's like almost like the sun and Mercury are plugged in together, and it's like fired up. And again, it did happen overnight. It happened technically in the sign of Libra overnight. But then right after Mercury went into Virgo. So it's like all this mercurial stuff, and it was switching, and you know, it's like where are we at here? Because Virgo is a very different sign from Libra. Libra, I just said, was air sign and balance, fairness, beauty. Virgo's earth, and it's all about small details, tiny little steps, and all the little things. You know, I mean, it's a very detail oriented, and if you think about a sign retrograde in the detail-oriented sign, yikes, it means it's not going to be very detail-oriented at all, and we're going to have trouble with the details. That's kind of the small little things we're going to have to really check over and check over and check over again. Again, all the Mercury retrograde ends on 10/2, and I always say, give it a minute. You know, like people try to plan things like, what time, you know, does it end? I'll plan it like an hour later, you know, and it's like, it's okay to do that. I think that's good, but you might even want to give it a few days or even a week to kind of really just sort of get back into the groove of things. Because Mercury, when just to remind you guys, when Mercury goes retrograde, it doesn't just stop and start and go, you know, it's like a car. It goes, slows down, it stops, and then it starts going reversed, it stops again, and then it starts going forward. So that process of stopping takes a few days for it to like actually fully stop and then like go. Now, of course, again, this is all an optical illusion. It doesn't actually stop. It just appears that way in the sky, but that's how we interpret it in astrology. So it's called stationary. And so when that happens, it's, you know, it's a time where things are reversing and changing and reversing again, you know? So that's why I always say, put the dating apps on pause and, you know, try not to like get, you know, look for new jobs and all these new things. It's just not, you know, unless if you have to. Look, if you have to feed your family, you should definitely do that. So speaking of love, on Saturday tomorrow, on September 24th, and we're going to feel that Mercury Sun conjunction. I want to just finish that and just say very quickly that we will feel that all through the weekend. So there's a lot of energy this weekend. It just keeps going. So tomorrow on Saturday, the 24th of September, Venus is going to form an opposition to Neptune. Venus is in Virgo. Neptune is in Pisces. Neptune is retrograde also, another retrograde planet. And that can be very foggy, fuzzy with relationships, especially with love. Use a lot of caution this weekend around love stuff. Like, are you really seeing this person accurately? Because Neptune is lies, illusions, delusions. So you don't want to, you know, kind of get too caught up in all of that stuff. That's a lot of, cloudiness, fogginess, fuzziness. It can also make us sleepy. So it's almost like we go from that really high up energy with the Mercury and Sun conjunction, and then it's like, boom, the next day. And that's the peak of it's gonna be the next morning, tomorrow morning, Saturday, at 4:51 a.m. Eastern time. But we'll feel it all weekend. And so Venus is going to be opposing Neptune. So if you meet anybody new this weekend, watch them, because they might not be all that you think they are. This little warning, heads up. So Sunday is the new moon in Libra. So I just got done describing Libra season. So the new moon in Libra is a fresh start. It's 2 degrees Libra, so in the very beginning of Libra. So if you're born like now, this is your new moon. This is basically going to be your new moon. If your birthday is around this time, last week or next week, this is going to be your new moon's going to be right up in your chart. So if you are a Libra, or if you are an Aries is opposite of Libra, you will be definitely feeling this. Though if you're an Aries, this will almost feel like a full moon to you instead of being a new moon. Yucky. I'm an Aries, so I didn't like that, but it is what it is. I have to be the reporter of the news. So the sun, so the moon and the sun, also a version of a cazimi, okay? These two coming together right on top of each other. And then if you want to add a third one, okay, we'll have like 3 planets conjunct now, Sun, Mercury, and Moon, all this weekend, and the new moon's coming. It's going to be a lot. So if you think about the sun is like, when someone says, hey, what's your sign? That's your sun sign. The sun is like a general deal. It's the, if the sun dies, we all die. It's a big, huge deal. It's like the general self. That's the sun. It's our ego, it's our personality, it's where we shine. So if you look in your astrological chart, where's the sun in your chart? It's like where you shine, where you can be bright and sparkly. That's a good thing. And then we have the moon there in Libra, relationship-minded Libra, balance, fairness, beauty Libra. We have the moon there. So this is definitely a good time this weekend to, potentially look at some new fashion and sort of get into the Libra thing, with balance, and where in life do we need more balance? All of that stuff is going to be all highlighted in that Libra. So remember what I always say with the new moon, and I will say this, the new moon is taking place on Sunday, on the 25th at 5:55 p.m. So if you're, again, 2:55 if you're on the West Coast, but 5:55, 5:55. So it's interesting because even the number 5 is actually Mercury. So it's kind of an interesting time, like where we have so much mercurial stuff going on. And so expect that there's going to be a lot of talking, speaking, communicating, wanting to partner up, wanting to talk about where are things headed with your significant other. And if you're married, why are we having that same fight over and over again, and like really wanting to like bond and be with our partner and talk with our partner and all that. But here's the thing. Again, I'm doing a broadcast for everybody. So if your relationship is already out of balance, if it hasn't been going well, or if it's a toxic relationship, then that might be getting reevaluated during all of this stuff, because again, Mercury's retrograde and there's a lot of retrograde stuff. There's a lot. So that's happening. It's Rosh Hashanah begins at sundown on that day, on Sunday evening. So it's going to be a lot with this particular new moon. Yes, it's a new moon. You're going to set new intentions. This is the time to plant the seeds of new beginnings and new thoughts and new, wanting to do new things in life. And all of that is really good stuff. It's just that you want to keep in mind there's 9 planetary bodies retrograde right now. So it's not time to really act on the new things. Yes, you can manifest new things. Look, the new moon's always the best time, even if it's in Mercury retrograde, to manifest. It's just acting on it or starting to do stuff with it. This is a good time for homework. That's what retrogrades are good for. It's like doing the research, the back end details and what's going on. In fact, Mercury's right in Virgo. So you're going to have a lot now. And then on Monday, there's even more, there's a deluge of more things coming. So I'm just going to very quickly go over what does this mean. So Venus is going to form a trine with Pluto. That's power in love, powerful love dynamics, but it could also be power that is used for, good versus evil, kind of thing. Like it depends on what your deal is, again, in your relationship. If you already have a toxic relationship, it'll be just that much more toxic, or it could be really powerful and beautiful, but it's power in love. And then you have Mercury forming a conjunction with Venus. Is that right? Yes. Mercury's forming conjunction in Venus with Virgo, in Virgo. And so we're going to be talking and communicating. Venus is all activated. This is a very Mercury in love. Mercury in love. I keep talking about Libra and love and balance and with relationships. So now we have Mercury retrograde highlighting highlighting Venus. And then you have the Sun forming an opposition with Jupiter. Okay, so the Sun is in Libra and Jupiter retrograde. Jupiter's even retrograde. In Aries is getting highlighted, and that's an opposition. All three of those things are happening on Monday. So that's going to be a busy Monday. And on the surface, when you look at Monday and you look at the trine and the conjunction and opposition, those things don't look too bad, except it's going to be a lot. So whenever there's this much layer, it's like a layer cake. Like there's like a strawberry, a chocolate, a vanilla, a caramel, it's like, there's no way to say all of this is going to be good for just one person or just another person. Like when I do these general broadcasts, it's just that I want you to know there's a deluge. It's like one wave after another wave of energy coming at us that basically is going to affect us. And it'll affect us all differently. It depends on your astrological sign. It depends on where Libra is in your birth chart. If you are Libra or another air sign, Gemini or Aquarius, this is going to add more air onto air, right? It'll like really, kind of, and it could even be destabilizing because there's so much air, right? Or if you're a fire sign, Aries for sure is going to be feeling this through opposition. Libra and Aries are opposing each other. So Aries could have a little bit harder of a time than the other fire signs. Or the cardinal signs. I mean, if you're a cardinal sign, Aries, Libra, even Cancer and Capricorns could feel this because the cardinal being activated. All of the leaders are like, whoa, what's happening here? Like the leaders are going to be affected as well. So there's just a lot. And then the other thing is there's a semi-sextile between Mars and Uranus even on Monday the 26th. So even though semi-sextiles are not considered to be major, that's a fourth thing then, that's, even though it's a kind of minor, whenever the outer planets such as Mars or Uranus, and Uranus is retrograde, that's going to be activated. So weird things might be afoot on Monday. Like it might be a mixed bag. Like there'll probably be some people who are like, this was the best day ever. And there's going to be other people who are like, this day sucked. Like it's going to be that kind of a day. So it's going to be a lot. And so make sure you get a lot of good rest this weekend. You get a chance to ground yourself. You get a chance to, kind of get back into balance. Monica said, yes, balance. That's what the equinox is all about. Yes, I said that earlier in the video for sure. And Ashley, hey Ashley, oh thank you. Everybody's saying they love my glasses. These are blue light blockers so I can rest my brain and my eyes, It's been a long week. Tuning in from Vermont, awesome. Virgo, yeah, so you're a Virgo, and that's going to be getting activated in your astrological chart. Mercury retrograde just entered Virgo, so you're going to get that activation in your chart. So yeah, so there's a lot of things happening. I just want to very quickly say that on Tuesday, we have Mercury is going to form a trine with Pluto. So just like on Monday when Venus formed a trine with Pluto, the next day Mercury forms a trine with Pluto. So they're both trining Pluto at the same time that they're conjunct with each other. So it's Venus, Mercury, Pluto. So all of that is going to be very powerful. There's going to be powerful discussions on Monday. There's probably going to be a lot of news on Monday coming out, and Tuesday even coming out, just with power dynamics and governmental people and all kinds of stuff. It's a lot. And then on Wednesday, there's going to be a trine between Mars and Saturn. Now, I should say trines are usually positive, but you have to look at the players, and Mars and Saturn, not as much positive. Mercury and Venus, they can be pretty cool. They can hang, they can have a good time together. But when they're trine Pluto's like the hornet's nest, right? Like Pluto's intense. Pluto's the most intense planet. So that's going to be activated on Monday and Tuesday, and then we have Mars and Saturn activated on Wednesday. So that is a lot of stuff. I mean, it is just, that's going to be one thing after another. Now, we just started, like I said, Libra season, and on Thursday, on the 29th of September, 2022, Venus is going to go into Libra. So then there's going to be another wave of Libra energy. So Thursday of this week on the 22nd, we have the sun entered Libra, and then we have the new moon in Libra on Sunday, and then we're going to have Venus go into Libra on Thursday on the 29th. So, I mean, there's a lot of Libra layers coming at us, and that's going to be more relationship stuff. Right now, we're still technically, as of the time for of the broadcast, we're still technically Virgo in Venus, Venus in Virgo. And that is kind of, remember, it's the details. Well, that's like picking apart our relationships a little bit. It's like pick. We're going to be picky and discerning and really wanting to look at things like under the microscope and say, what's going on, with our relationships. And Venus, I always talk about this cycle every year when I've done these broadcasts, but Venus in Virgo is rough, actually. They're one of my Venus signs that in practice that I see a lot of single Venus and Virgo people, because it's so picky, discerning and picky, and then also can be critical. That can be a very critical Venus sign, and nobody wants to be picked apart or criticized. You know what I mean? So gotta watch that with Venus and Virgo. So that is a thing that's activated until next Thursday, and then it switches to Libra, and it's almost the whole month. Venus in Libra is almost the whole month. And so Venus in Libra is all about, again, we go back to that balance, fairness, beauty, all that stuff, wanting to have equality in a relationship and wanting to find your other half or better half, or reconnect with your partner and say, baby, we haven't seen each other lately. Let's reconnect. If you're already with somebody and married or whatever, that can be a good thing. The only caveat, because there's always, I like to talk about expression of these planets, right? So it can be like, what is your baseline energy? If your baseline energy is somebody who needs to have more balance in their relationships, but you have like pretty good baseline energy, and your energy is pretty positive, and you're pretty balanced already, this is going to be no problem for you. But if you're somebody who's way out of balance, you lose, the problem is if you have a tendency to lose your voice in relationships, if you have a little, I hate that word, codependence, but if you have a little codependence or the propensity to get involved in relationships where you lose your voice, you become small, you just agree to keep the peace and you agree, that's going to make this tendency worse, or that's going to deepen that tendency. This Venus in Libra has the tendency to do that. So that's always the caveat to these types of things. You have to see what's your normal expression, and it'll like either add to that or even reel it back a little bit. Sometimes these things can help to balance us more, and it's like, okay, you just need a little tweaking, a little adjusting, and that's great. But if you already tend to be somebody who's a people pleaser, says yes all the time, tries to be, oh, like, no, I don't want to make waves, that's going to make that tendency in you worse. Libras always have to learn that in their lifetime, to really speak up for themselves, to advocate, to find equal footing and balance in relationships, and that is the life lesson of Libra. So we're going to be really deep into it once we get to even Thursday on the 29th. And so there's a lot of energy coming at us. And then, like I said, by the way, next weekend looks much more quiet. I'll just say the first and the second looks much more quiet, a little bit more low key. And then, like I said, Mercury retrograde will end on the Sunday, October 2nd. That'll be wrapping up and ending, and we won't have to worry about that until the end of December 2022. So in a little while, that'll be a good thing that we'll be able to do that. So yeah, so we have a lot. It's like a major deluge. Yes, Iris said she likes my Manny. Thank you. I officiated a wedding last night on the equinox, and so I had to do my wedding thing. So yeah, so wonderful entrance into the Libra season to do a wedding on that day. Molly said your Venus is in Libra, and that's how you express it, is your being people pleaser. Yeah, that's a common thing with this Libra stuff. I mean, it's like almost a pathological leaning towards wanting to make people happy, and it kind of at all costs. So you have to watch that, because yes, we need to have peace and balance and mediation and all this kind of stuff. But then sometimes people are, we have to speak up and assert ourselves and say that, this is the thing. I didn't talk about this earlier when we were talking about Libras that are out of balance. When I brought up Will Smith, that kind of, got a little out of balance, as you all heard. But even Putin's a Libra, supposedly. We don't really know his accurate birth time, but it is recorded that he is a Libra. So if you think about somebody that's out of balance and needs balance in their life, it probably is that guy. So some Libras, they have that real, like the scales are real out of balance. So we just want to watch. We want to bring in, sometimes you have to do a little conflict to speak up for yourself, and that is what brings things in balance. If you think about it, if you're people pleasing, it goes way out of balance. So yeah. So Kelly said, any thoughts on the potential hurricane heading towards Florida? I didn't look at the map. I should look at the map. I don't have a good feeling about the one headed up. I don't know if it's different one or the same one. Is it Fiona? The one that's headed up towards Canada. I don't have a good feeling about that one. That's kind of a crazy one. I'll do cards on it and see. Hi, Kelly. Miss you. Kelly is a Leo in Florida. Let's see. I actually haven't even had time to look at the news. That's how busy, like, all this Mercury and everything's been. I've been in like a bubble. Like, I haven't even had a chance to look at my phone or anything. But let's see. What do we need to know about that hurricane? Yeah, that's not going to be good. There's going to be tons and tons and tons and tons of power outages with it, like with this Mercury involvement. And it's interesting because this is more than one hurricane. See, these are two. The third thing is always heard. So there's more than one. There's multiple hurricanes going on. Yeah, there is going to be a lot of restrictions, constrictions, possibly power outages, like all that kind of stuff is very much going to be activated, I think. Ian, okay, on Tuesday and Wednesday. Yeah, so see this Pluto, and then stuff is going to be activated Monday and Tuesday. The peak of it. Remember, when I say these times and these very specific times, that's the max peak time. But you have to remember, when we go into these things, it's a crest. It really looks more like a graph. where it like it goes like this, and then like the stock market recently, it goes more like that after it releases. So when I give you these times, that's when it starts to go. It's like a roller coaster, you know. You go up, 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 up. Couple days before the day of, it's the peak, and then it goes down. So we're still cresting. We're at the, you know, we were yesterday at the, and earlier this week at the bottom of the, you know, and then it started going up, and then, you know, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, it's like, it just keeps going and going. So yeah, this Pluto stuff could make it disastrous, because Pluto is widespread extremes, you know. I mean, so if it's, I haven't even heard of this particular hurricane, Kelly, but I trust you that you know, because you live in Florida. That could be pretty extreme, for sure. So yeah, so that's not good. And this card is, I nicknamed this, it's called Submission Caution, but I nicknamed this the Rules and Regulations card. So there's going to possibly be, you know, maybe like evacuations or some kind of a thing going on, like with authorities. You know, if you see there's this big authoritative hand with this little child's hand, like that's kind of a smackdown, you know. So, and then there's more than one hurricane out there, you know, so yeah, so that could be big, you know, especially with all of this. Whenever we have this much lunar energy, remember the moon really helps to kind of fuel the tides and things like that. The good news is this is not a full moon. This is a new moon that's taking place on Sunday. And this is taking place after the new moon has already peaked, you know, that on Sunday, 5:55, it peaked. So that could help this hurricane to kind of fizzle out a little bit. So if they're, I don't know what they're predicting, but I'm just using this as an example. If they're predicting like a hurricane category 3, it could peter out to like a 1, you know, I mean, because it's lost. That's the good news. It's lost the energy, but I still feel like there's going to be widespread flooding, and Mercury is activated, which means loss of power and electricity. But I don't know, like I kind of feel like that will help the new moon releasing and then letting go as it's hitting windfall or landfall. That will help to kind of chill it out a little bit, but I still think it's going to be big. Hey Shannon, welcome. Leo from Vermont, hello, welcome. Thank you for joining. And if anybody has any questions for me, now is the time to post below, because I am going to hop off and try to settle in for the night, because it's been a long week. It's definitely been a long week. And Kelly says, what about Jupiter being closest to the Earth in 60 years? So again, I mean, when these planets are close, we feel them more. Jupiter next week in particular isn't majorly activated, but Jupiter is big, you know. Jupiter makes things bigger and feel bigger. So, I mean, that's not going to help the hurricane for sure. Oh, Ashley, I'm so sorry. Your puppy passed away. Ashley's puppy passed away. If everybody on could give her some love, because you know, if anybody's lost a pet, it's so hard, so hard. I'm just gonna pull a quick card for Ashley. What does she need to know about the situation? If it just happened, it's too soon, and that's a good way for me to talk about that. Let me pull a card for you, Ashley. I'm gonna pull a card for you, and then everybody give Ashley some love, because that's so hard. Oh, it's the worst. What does Ashley need to know about this situation with her baby? Yeah. Pause. It's time to pause. Take a minute. Before you get a new puppy or new dog, she just asked about that. Just pause. Take a minute with your grief, you know, to sit with it. That's your guardian angel card, saying just to take a minute. I feel like your baby just had, I don't know if I'm seeing a lot of things with like legs and limbs and mobility, and maybe the dog wasn't able to walk, or there was some kind of a thing going on, or maybe the dog was just so sick, the dog went down. And I just feel like as if there was a time, there was just a time to, pause, P-A-U-S-E, but she spelled it P-A-W-S. Yes, exactly, pause. So this is a good time to talk about this, because when people and animals pass away, there's like a time that they sort of, they usually, and I'm speaking as a medium here, there's no, like, it's not a proof and evidence kind of thing. I'm just talking as a psychic medium myself, and I have a lot of friends that are psychic mediums as well, and we've all kind of said the same thing, and there's famous psychic mediums like Sylvia Brown and other people that have said the same thing. We all kind of get this same feeling. When somebody dies, a person or an animal, doesn't matter, it seems like their soul kind of does the rounds, like real quickly, like within like 24, 48 hours, even 72 hours. But usually it's pretty immediately where maybe you'll hear something, you'll get a visitation, you'll be like, oh my God, what was that? Oh, it sounded like the dog was walking across the room. That's so crazy, or comes in a dream or some kind of thing, like really fast. They'll come, do the round. I call it doing the rounds. They come and do the rounds, visit for a minute, peek in, like, I'm okay. Hey, I'm okay. And then they go away. Sylvia Brown used to call it a cocooning period of time, where the soul is like somehow enveloped in love and whatever you believe, God, heaven, whatever the thing is. The soul kind of goes around and just gets sort of cocooned in that love. And it's kind of like an acclimation period. The soul sort of goes away for a little bit. And then however long that lasts, and every person and animal is different. Usually animals are quicker. Like they don't need, because I feel like they're so much closer to God's, than we are, or heaven or whatever you want to call it, the universal thing. But they're closer to that energy than we are. So they don't usually stay in the cocooning long, but people can stay there sometimes for a while. And then they'll come back out. And then they'll be like, it's like they're good to go. So sometimes when people ask me as a request to connect with their loved one that's deceased, and the deceased would just happened like 2 days ago, 3 days ago, it's a little hard to connect with them because they're in this cocooning stage. I always compare it to like talking almost like on a cell phone through the mountains. You ever drive through the mountains and it's like, the connection's not strong. And that's usually when they're in this other sort of state, whatever that state is. I mean, I feel like Sylvia Brown was kind of accurate in that description of cocooning. So I just wanted to say that I do feel like your dog is in that state, cocooning state, but won't be long at all. Yeah. So she said, the dog did go down, heart failure and cancer too. Geez, that's horrible. I just feel like the dog went down and then that was it. Down, like it was like it wasn't your baby wasn't able to come back from that. It was just like went down and then was done. So you actually did a kind thing to help. And so just process, just wait a little bit. Your right animal, your right baby will come to you. It's Mercury retrograde right now. Everything is retrograde. We just got done saying like 9 different planetary things are retrograde. So what I would do is just sort of pause, right? Like pause, and just feel the grief for a moment. It won't take long, actually. I actually feel something maybe even November, like another animal coming, but it doesn't feel like it's a long time, but it does feel like you need to take a break for a minute and just process and just grieve. Esther Hicks, if any of you listen to Esther Hicks, speaking of dogs, my dog was just making noises, with Law of Attraction, she talks about the goal in life is to be happy, healthy, dead. It's not to have a long, drawn out 10, 20 years of horribleness. It's to live life and then go. That's harder on us that are left behind when somebody or an animal suddenly passes away, seemingly suddenly, like when the queen kind of was seemingly okay and then she went down, recently, Queen Elizabeth passing away. but she didn't suffer for this big long period of time. So I always, even though it's hard when someone is feels like they're taken too soon, or a person, animal is taken away too soon, it's better that they didn't suffer and go through all that long. It's harder on us. We have a better time grieving when it is a long drawn out thing, because then you say your goodbye and it's like this long thing. So it's almost better for the friends, family, but it's not better for the person or the animal that's passing. So I'd rather have it be the sudden, even though it's harder on us and it just rips us apart. It's better in that way. It's never fun. Either way you look at it, it's never fun. So oh, you buried her in your flowers. That's so beautiful. Yeah. And she's looks like she's in a garden. This pause card. So anyway, I hope that helps everybody tonight. So I hope that you guys find this information to be helpful. Again, this new moon is coming. Plant your new seeds. If you want to have a new fur baby, or new love in your life, or a house, or a new job, or whatever thing it is that you're trying to manifest, this is a great time to manifest that. But again, you're looking at manifesting, not necessarily all the action. You want to do the homework, the behind the scenes, the research, and figuring out. This particular new moon is fully loaded, so it is going to be a powerful new moon on Sunday. So remember to write out your new moon manifestation list, write all the things that you want on the list. Go ahead and fold it up, put it under your pillow, sleep on it, and in 2 weeks, you're going to burn or destroy the list on the full moon. So new moons, think new beginnings. And so that's what this particular new moon is about, especially with the lens of relationships at 2 degrees Libra. So, and remember, those fine details with Mercury retrograde are going to be a little bit pesky right now. And so that'll be driving us a little bit batty. And then there's a lot of stuff going on in the ethers with relationships in general. So if you are in a partnership or a relationship, try to go easy on yourself. Try to go easy on your partner. I actually brought my little statue I forgot to show of Kuan Yin, right? Be gentle and compassionate and loving. This is Kuan Yin, the symbol of Kuan Yin. Kuan Yin was said to be the compassionate voice on the council of who gets into heaven and who doesn't. That's Kuan Yin's job, to say, they didn't really hurt anybody. The Kuan Yin's job is to be nice and gentle. So be nice and gentle with yourselves. And I'm just going to pull one quick card. My Lily's running around with her toy, so squeaking. I'm just going to pull one quick one quick card. And what do we all need to know for this new moon? Mercury retrograde, Mercury in Virgo, fall equinox, and all of the planetary stuff that's going on behind the scenes, Pluto, and then Mars and Saturn on Wednesday. What do we need to know about all this deluge of energy? What of us mere mortals, our human selves, need to know on this planetary journey that we are on? Try to think optimism. Try to look at the cup as half full instead of half empty. That's the Guardian. I don't know if you can see it. Guardian Angel card also is optimism. Try not to get too down. I have a lot of clients right now calling me about depression, about anxiety, about feeling stuck or feeling hopeless. It just hurts. It hurts to hear that as a person that cares, because it's not hopeless. There's going to be a reverse and a reverse and a reverse and a reverse. That nothing right now is solid. I mean, I'm kind of laughing because it's all going to reverse. So think about life as half full instead of half empty. And look, if one door closes, a window opens. Try to remember to stay bright. If you have to take a break from the news, I've been taking a little bit of a break from the news, just because it's like every 2 seconds, it's like, some negative thing that's been coming in the feed, and it's too much. So remember optimism. And if you are looking for grounding, howlite, again, is a wonderful stone for grounding, as well as if you're looking for love, self-love, or questions about love problems or issues or things in your love life. Rose quartz is another wonderful stone, especially for Libra season, because that is very much a Libra type stone. Okay, everyone. I love you all. Thank you very much for joining, liking and sharing and commenting. And if you haven't yet, go ahead and subscribe to my YouTube channel over there on YouTube. Like my videos. It always helps with the algorithm and supporting my work. You guys are the best. And if you want to have a personalized astrological session, please feel free to contact me. Text message is the best, or you can send me a private message and we will do it. All right, everyone. Namaste. Happy new moon.